Ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a treat today. Two of the most entertaining gentlemen to ever discuss Tesla. Of course, exactly how and why they're so entertaining is up for interpretation. At the same time, in the same place, this is going to be good.
Hear me out. Edmunds ranks Tesla as the only company whose EPA stated range, its actual real world range for every single car is lower than its EPA stated range. So you're not getting the range. And then just the other day.
All right, hold up. So just a quick thing so you guys understand. We are on the EPA website, an official website of the United States government. Fuel economy and EV range testing. EPA is responsible for providing fuel economy data for the fuel economy label or window sticker that you see on all new cars and light trucks. Automakers are required to follow very specific test procedures and submit the fuel economy data to the EPA for all their models each year. Now, I'll cut to the chase here. If you guys want to read all the details, feel free. The punchline is as follows. Companies don't magically pull a number out of their ass and go, "Hi EPA, here's how much range our vehicle gets." They have a standardized procedure for testing the vehicles. Companies must follow very specific testing procedures. These tests are done in laboratory conditions. Again, it's all here. The only way a company would end up with an EPA range estimate that wasn't based on having done the standardized testing in laboratory conditions is if they were willing to commit fraud. So Gordon's first point out of the gates is nonsensical, unless of course he is suggesting that Tesla is in fact committing fraud and lying to the EPA about how their tests were conducted. Of course, no company would ever do such a thing. Oh wait, let's not get into the whole emissions scandals, which were also lies on tests that were supposed to be. Anyway, the point is though, seriously, whatever data Gordon is citing is meaningless if it is in fact data as opposed to opinion. The EPA has a standardized test for measuring vehicle range. Standardized, okay? If Gordon has an issue with EPA's testing, he can take it up with the EPA, not Tesla. This is, of course, the tactic of Gordon Johnson, is to spit out a bunch of ridiculous points, most of which are false, inaccurate, deceptive, dishonest, start a bunch of spot fires simultaneously, and then the alleged Tesla bull won't have time in the entire segment to even address a fraction of these lies. Can't put out all the fires at once. They spend the entire segment firefighting instead of making a bullish point. Gordon doesn't fight fair.
Today, there was a study that came out from LendingTree that stated Tesla's cars are the least safest out of all 30 cars they tested.
They're about to have a record in China.
23.54 accidents.
What the fuck? Did he... bro. I mean, we just heard, apparently, from some random study allegedly conducted by some random company or group, Gordon just so happens to have on hand that Teslas were the least safe vehicles that they tested. Of course, the official safety ratings agencies globally consistently rate Tesla's vehicles as the safest vehicles ever tested. Doesn't matter whether we're talking the United States, Europe, or elsewhere. How do we square these two claims? The official safety ratings agencies, the actual agencies that are responsible for testing and certifying vehicle safety, rate Tesla vehicles as the safest vehicles ever. And Gordon is citing some random organization who allegedly did some testing and apparently Teslas were the least safe vehicles. Absurd. And notice how many spot fires Gordon has already ignited. Not even 30 seconds into the segment.
Per 1,000
this
cars.
is Tesla's best quarter ever in China.
Yeah. The point is this. Tesla's cars are unreliable, unsafe, and don't have the mileage.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, unreliable, unsafe, and don't have the mileage. If you say a thing, it must be true, and therefore Gordon's definitely got a point. We could ignore the official range estimates from the EPA, deduced via standardized testing. We could ignore the safety ratings from the official agencies responsible for actually determining the safety of vehicles, region to region, country to country. And not sure where Gordon's getting this supposed reliability data. I'm just kidding. I know where he's getting it. He's pulling it out of somebody's rectum. Now Ross has the unenviable task of extinguishing a few of these fires before the anchor interrupts him and moves the conversation on, almost as if by not being able to individually put out each of these fires, Ross has tacitly admitted that Gordon had some good points that were true, honest, and accurate.
We've been saying this for a long time. And what's happening is the consumer, right? The consumer is moving away from Tesla. One last point.
And another absurd point. 42 seconds in. There will be no data to back this up. If we're lucky, we might have some cherry-picked distortion of reality. The consumer is moving away from Tesla. Says the guy at the end of 2023, in which Tesla's Model Y will be the world's best-selling vehicle of any kind. Hard to square Gordon's statement with the fact that Model Y will be the best-selling vehicle on Earth, especially given its premium pricing relative to typical vehicles that are best-selling on Earth. We're off to a great start. Just
today, we found out that Tesla had a number of axle failures, right? Suspension failures they knew about, right?
But Gordon, we're going a little.
Oh, the guy's just out of control. Notice the anchor's now just jumping in. Gordon, shut the fuck up, bro. We need to let Ross talk a little bit here. I gave him almost a minute to rant and light fires. Now finally starting to rein the guy in.
We're going a little bit off the rails here, Gordon. I just want to say,
shut the fuck up. That's what he actually wants to say. I'll tell you what, Gordon really does walk a fine line. The lack of etiquette when you're on air and somebody's telling you to shut the fuck up, you kind of need to shut the fuck up unless you don't want to get invited back. But the truth is, they continue to invite Gordon back because he's so entertaining. I mean, after all, he hasn't earned the name the class clown, Mr. Humiliation Fetish, for nothing.
That's what you said is true, but GM just stopped selling its Blazer EV. Toyota had a massive recall because of further airbag issues. Every car company has recalls or, don't come at me, Teslarians, or over-the-air software updates, whatever you want to call them. Every car, Gordon, has a problem.
Credit where it's due. CNBS anchor, being reasonable. Maybe the tide is finally turning.
Everybody.
Well, Sally, you got to take a step
and you're
back.
missing the overall point, which is this is not stopping people from buying Teslas as they have a record.
Okay, hold on, Ross. Right? Let Gordon respond to my pseudo rant, and then you
Sally,
can.
I want to address that head on. Other companies do recalls. Tesla did not do a recall. There was a whistleblower who was an employee at Tesla who basically turned over a bunch of.
Before Gordon continues his rant, just notice the terminology. Basically, this is a caveat. When you hear things like basically and essentially, etc., and allegedly, you may in fact not be hearing what occurred. Gordon is in fact smart enough to realize that he can't make outrageous claims, so just note the caveats in the language being used as he presents his supposed fact.
Information that Handelsblatt, Reuters now has that data, that basically stated that Tesla.
He's doubled down on basically again, as in not actually. Basically means what I'm about to say isn't accurate.
Tesla knew its cars had faulty suspensions and they didn't do a recall. And then Tesla's response to that was, we fixed 120,000 suspensions. The reason why that's eye-opening is because there's other cars out there, millions potentially of cars in the United States where they haven't fixed the suspension or done a recall. Okay. That is a huge problem. that's putting all of us at risk.
This is like my, if they're watching, I love all my, it's like my Christmas, it's family dinner at Christmas, okay? We started on one thing and sort of went over here. I want to bring it back a little bit, Ross. What I want to talk about, and this is a good discussion, by the way, but I want to talk about BYD. Let me ask you a direct question, because we don't know what the labor conditions are in BYD. We don't know. The Chinese government can subsidize them. Should BYD cars even be allowed ever into the U.S. market?
Curious question. Some overtones of China bad. Now, if I didn't know any better, there might be an implication there that maybe the data collected in BYD vehicles may not be safe. Maybe they'll spy on you. And of course, there are questions about safety of BYD vehicles, but that's what the safety testing is for. Believe me, there will be an invasion of Chinese electric vehicles into the United States and Europe, especially from BYD, in the coming years. These companies will be eating the lunch of the likes of Toyota and Volkswagen. So it is inevitable. Now, it is true that there are many models that are roadworthy and, well, roadworthy is probably a stretch, but legally allowed to be sold to consumers in China that would not have a hope in hell of passing safety tests elsewhere. They won't make it to the United States, at least not in their existing forms. There will be many vehicles that will make it, that'll be relatively compelling and good value. And if I were a company like Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, General Motors, I'd be deeply concerned about these Chinese EVs.
Well, absolutely. I'm a capitalist. I don't think we should.
But they're
close
not.
The market.
But China's not.
Yeah, I know. But that's their, government and their choice. America doesn't change capitalism just because we don't like a certain group of people, right? So, Chinese should be able to sell cars here just like everybody else.
I don't think it's liking them. I think what I worry about is we covered the UAW strike extensively, right? These are hardworking people in Detroit just trying to make a living, like the middle class dream. China, BYD could be paying people $5 an hour to make a car. We could never compete with that, Ross.
So rest in peace, the companies that can't compete. Spoiler alert, it's called reality. We may not like reality, but we can't ignore reality. And it's definitely true. Labour costs in China, on average, much lower than in the United States. Miraculously, however, this is a crazy idea, but imagine this. Imagine a company who produces vehicles, building a factory in China to build vehicles in China, to sell in China and export from China to other parts of the world, taking advantage of said lower labour costs. What a crazy idea. I know no company would ever be outrageous enough and insane enough to do that. Oh wait, no, Tesla already did that. Oh, so I think what the anchor's trying to say here is it will be hard and challenging for companies to compete with Chinese EV makers. Therefore, they should maybe just give up, or maybe we should make it illegal to import these electric vehicles into the United States. And it is a possibility that there may be relatively high tariffs on electric vehicles coming from China into the United States and other parts of the world. Governments may intervene. But one way a company could compete, even if, on average, Chinese-made electric vehicles can be produced at lower costs because of lower labour costs, is to have superior technology. Just make a better product. That would also require excellent execution and incredible engineers and great leadership, though. So, I mean, let's just be honest. Most of these companies in the United States aren't going to make it. But crying in the corner and saying life's not fair is not going to help them survive, is it?
Right. And I think that's the government's job to set tariffs and policies for trade. It's not really like we should just decide not, consumers also actually make this decision of whether they want to buy a Chinese car. And I think that's the biggest factor that BYD faces, that American consumers don't want a Chinese car. So if you see like what Geely did by buying Volvo and using the Volvo brand, even though it's a Chinese company, that's, I think, a much smarter strategy to breaking into Europe and the United States market. So I think the biggest risk BYD has is the fact that Americans just won't buy Chinese cars, but keeping them out of the market isn't really, capitalism.
I do worry, though, Gordon. Listen, I think we said the same thing about Japanese cars in the late 60s. No one's going to buy them. They're small and cheap looking. I think we said the same thing about Korean cars, Kia and Hyundai, in the late 80s and early 90s. We're still saying that about French cars, and that's okay because it's accurate. But you get my point, Gordon, which I wouldn't underestimate China. Do you think they should be allowed in the U.S. market?
Absolutely not. And let me tell you why. Ross kind of is not focused on the specifics here. China has three key subsidies: cheap labor. They use slave labor to manufacture a lot of their products, artificially low, basically borrowing costs for their banks, and artificially low energy prices. That is not fair. That's not a level playing field. That's not capitalism. So to allow those cars in here and them to undercut the American automakers, thus killing jobs here, creating jobs over in China, I think is unfair. And Ross.
I think we might be getting some insights into possibly why Gordon says such ridiculous things, especially about Tesla. If I didn't know any better, this is a bit of a breakthrough moment. I might think that Gordon, for whatever reason, correctly identifies that US automotive manufacturers, e.g. the likes of Ford and General Motors, are legitimately threatened both by companies like Tesla and also an invasion of affordable, relatively decent electric vehicles from China. He seemed to have a very strong emotional response to the idea of electric vehicles coming from China into the United States, as also he has extremely strong emotional reactions to Tesla and has been attacking Tesla 24/7. Why would this be? Is it possible for whatever reason that Gordon has a strong incentive for legacy United States automotive manufacturers to remain in business in the next few decades? Because I'm getting the sense that might be true. I have no idea why that would be. I could speculate, but I won't. But he's kind of acting like somebody who, and by the way, this is not based on anything. I'm just trying to make an example, actually, seriously. I don't take it the wrong way, but just kind of acting like somebody. Imagine you were a trust fund kid and the special trust had been set up for you and you're not allowed to sell the assets held in the trust for the next 50 years. And it just so happens the only assets in that trust are Ford and GM stock. Again, I'm not saying this is true. It almost 0% chance it is. But just to illustrate the point, then I could understand why you'd have such an emotional reaction. Be so anti-Tesla and anti-compelling affordable Chinese electric vehicles. Now, I don't know the actual reason why Gordon is so against Tesla and Chinese EVs disrupting US legacy automotive companies, but it does seem the case that he has a very strong emotional response and aversion to this happening. Why would that be? I have no idea, but it's interesting to ponder.
Knows this, right?
But we're subsidizing EVs here in the United States.
They're taking subsidies away from even Tesla because they're making a lot of their batteries, some of their batteries in China and shipping those cars over here. So you got to level the playing field. You can't have guys using slave labor to make their cars and then shipping them into America where we have to pay competitive wages. That's not fair. That's not capitalism.
I think we've gained a bit of an insight into why Gordon says what he says, what makes the guy tick. Not sure the specific reason, but clearly Gordon really doesn't like the idea of US legacy automotive manufacturers being disrupted, in my opinion. The question is, why? Feel free to speculate in the comments. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon. And don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.